I'm Fatema Hasta. Um, I am currently situated in Kansas State, Overland Park City, um, and I'm working at Dell Technologies. So, couple of things. Firstly, I had this from the beginning that I wanted to do my master's or higher education in the United States. Reasoning was basically I was very well aware that the higher education or the quality of education that you get in the United States is is really good. It's inspiring. It's very intimidating, um, and I think that throughout my entire education in India, there were few things that were lacking. One was hands-on experience, practical experience to the things that you're learning. That I was very well aware is available in the United States. So the good thing about colleges or universities here in the United States is that whatever you're learning, you get hands-on with everything. So it's not just theoretical, but it is all practical. So you know what you're doing, you know what you're learning. The professors here are experts in their field, and I pretty much did not have that experience in India uh, throughout my career in India. So that was one thing that led me to United States. I think Grad-Dreams was recommended by a friend of mine. I think they had done their process, their entire visa process and application process with Grad-Dreams, and so they recommended Grad-Dreams to me. And I had got a very good recommendation that they pretty much, because this process is very daunting, so they pretty much make the entire process very smooth. And I had got a very good recommendation, and so I joined Grad-Dreams. Also, it was close to my house, so the commute is very important when you have to travel to a center so many times for a lot of things. So commute is very important. So luckily, it was next to my house, probably 5 minutes from my place. So that was another reason for Grad-Dreams. But the process was pretty smooth. I've got a lot of help from Grad-Dreams through the entire process. I don't think I would have done it all by myself. One thing was very clear to me, that I wanted to be in and around Kansas, Missouri. Reason being, my fiance was here. So that was very clear to me. I applied to about 6 to 7 universities in and around Kansas and Missouri. I got admits from 4. And UMKC was the closest, and it offered the course that I was looking for. I was looking for majors in computer science with a specialization in data science. So I think that was the only good university that was offering data science as a majors for me, the courses that I was looking for. So I went with UMKC. It's very important for your mentor to be somebody you can share your thoughts with, because this is it's a journey, right? You have a lot of things going on in your mind. What are the right colleges? What is right for me? Am I doing the right thing? Because you're spending your time, you're spending your money on something, on traveling to a different country, getting into a college that is renowned with, you're paying a lot for your master's. So you really want to know whether you're doing the right thing or no. So Dakshita has been very, very supportive and very helpful in the entire process, from creating LORs to SOPs, which I had no idea about. They had provided templates to me, and I just had to fill out, all about myself, about my experience. But I knew a template, right? That's very important once you have a template for everything. So that was a very easy process. I think if I would have done this alone, I wouldn't have done it the way I should have. So and even today I'm in contact with Dakshata. So that's a really good thing. My visa interview was in Bombay. So I traveled to the Grad-Dreams Center in Bombay, probably one morning or one day before my interview process. And I had about 2 to 3 hour session with a teammate of yours, and they pretty much told me or explained to me how the process is going to be step by step, what questions are going to be asked or might be asked during a visa interview process, how my facial expressions should be, how I need to answer, what are the no's and what are the do's and what are the don'ts, right? So you don't want to say something that that is probably not a good thing during a US visa interview process. So they pretty much made me aware of what I should be saying, what I shouldn't. It was a two to 3 hour interview process, 2 to 3 hour mock interview. I was very nervous, but I think they pretty much prepared me for it. So I knew what was going to come the next day. And the visa interview process was very quick for me, about 2 to 3 minutes. Questions like, you know, what are you planning to do in the United States? What is the course that you're taking? What all admits did you get from which colleges? Why are you traveling to the United States? And that was pretty much. So it was pretty quick. I thought it would be a long process, and I think that time was during the presidential election, so just after the presidential elections. So it was, I wasn't sure whether the interview process would go great, but it was fantastic. Pretty great. I think from the college that I graduated, from PICT that I graduated, it was very different than what I saw at UMKC. At UMKC, I pretty much had what I wanted to. So I had all the courses that I was looking for. I was looking for a lot of hands-on experience with some data science courses that I was learning. I had pretty much everything that I wanted to learn. The college campus is great. So that is one thing that students are always looking for, that's lacking in India or in some of the Indian colleges. I think when you go to big institutes in India, that's you'd find beautiful campuses. But here, pretty much in most of the universities in the United States, you find really good campuses. So my experience was really good. I had a 1.5 year session, or 1.5 year graduation course. I completed it in 1.5 years, along with internships and a full-time job. Challenges, lots. So I have never done any of this that I just mentioned in India, because I had my mom and my parents around. But here I pretty much had to do everything all by myself. Also, the weather is a challenge here, especially in the Midwest, because winters are really cold here in the Midwest. It's different in other states of India, of the US, like California or Texas. It's different. It's a little warmer there. But here, weather is a big challenge. And when you need to, when you need to travel to college, or when you need to travel to internships, you need to take, either metros, or you need to take buses or shuttles. So winter is challenging because you don't have a car and you need to use other modes of transport to travel. So your weathers are around minus 25 degrees centigrades. Centigrade is the highest that you can see in Kansas. So that was a big challenge for me. I think also at the end of my semester, I had to look for a full-time job, which was also, I wouldn't say it was a challenge. I think it was a lot of work because I had to um, study. For my last semester, I had taken about 3 courses, and they were tough courses. I had to graduate. I had to also look for a job. Um, I was I was just one month. I had just 1 month left before my semester ended, was going to end, and still not had. I did not land a job. So that process is a little daunting, and it's a tension wala process. So but I think I came over it. I had to do a lot of get to a lot of applications. You need to apply. You need to know the right companies to apply to, and not just apply everywhere. But I think that's a journey. Everybody goes through that. Very different. So I think most of the students, or most of the students who live in India, they are pretty much living in their comfort zone, because most of them are living with their parents. I was living with my parents. I have never stayed alone in India. So for me to travel to the United States was a big deal. And I think I had to get out of my comfort zone and pretty much learn everything. So your life in the US is that you're alone, and you need to do everything by yourself. You need to cook by yourself. You need to do the dishes. You need to wash your own clothes. You need to get your own grocery, pretty much everything. You also need to study. You also need to get an internship. You also need to get a job. You need to do everything. So you become pretty independent once you're here in the United States. And I think that's important. One thing I'd say is it's very important that you land an internship before you land a full-time job. I'd say that because when you try to land a full-time job, they look for some type of work experience that you had in the United States specifically. If you have that, then it's very easier to land a full-time job. So I tried to get an internship for my summer and fall semesters, both. And I did. It was a difficult process. I did not land one through the career fair of my college. I tried a lot, but there are a lot of students, and it's difficult. But if you apply online, I know that a lot of students think that if you apply online, the chances are very, very less or nil sometimes. But I'd say that's not true. I have been applying online, and I did get a lot of interview calls. So keep applying online. Don't feel that career fairs are your only chance to get into a company. Also, I think that it's important to get some experience before you travel to the US. So it's important to get some work experience in India because that is valued when you try to get a full-time job. I did not have work experience in India. When I traveled to the United States, I was a fresh person coming into the United States to study and then look out for a job. So one thing that I did was get an internship here in the United States. And I also had done a couple of internships in India. So I did not have a full-time work experience, but I had done a lot of internships. So I had about 2 to 3 internships that I did in India. And I had a lot of projects on my resume. So my resume was filled with projects. And so when I actually went for interviews, they understood that from my work experience or whatever I did in India, they understood that I am capable of, this job, or I know what I'm talking. So I think doing a lot of hands-on before coming to the United States or getting some work experience in India is very, very helpful and beneficial. I've always lived with my parents all my life, and I wanted to get out of that and live alone, live independently. And I think USA gave me that. I've learned so many things that I had not learned in India. And I think if I had not traveled here, I had no plans of going to any other country. I think USA was it because of higher education, because I knew that masters is great here. So United States was the place for me to do my masters. So one thing was that, and something that US gave me is being independent, and I'm really thankful. Yeah, I think there are two things here that I'd like to say. One is, I know students are have a lot of tension. I know a lot of people have reached out to me, um, also expressing that, whether we should be moving to the United States or no. That's a question, because of the situation. I know currently, I think India is, or there are no flights from India to the US currently. So some admissions have been deferred. But one thing that I'd like to say is students should assess the situation after the presidential elections, that is in November, before they decide whether they should be traveling to the United States, because we don't know how the situation is going to be. First. Second, I think just recently there have been a lot of visa issues for F1 students here in the US. And I know that there were situations where students had to decide whether they had to take a full online or a hybrid model or a full offline to be able to stay in the United States. So I don't know what the situation is going to be next year, because currently nobody can travel. But next year, I think students need to look at those different, current visa situations and decide whether US is a great place for them. For me, I think no other country offers a better or master's or a PhD program than United States. But I think it's very important for students to also understand whether these visa issues that we're having here in the United States are going to last long or no. So they need to assess the situation before they move. I'm currently working at Dell Technologies, RSA Security. So RSA is a company acquired by Dell Technologies. And I am currently working as a software engineer, but my role is mostly of a DevOps engineer. So I did my internship as a DevOps intern, in DevOps, and that helped me get my full-time job because I had some internship experience as a DevOps engineer. So currently I'm working as a DevOps engineer. Really, my work is more on Jenkins and Git and writing pipelines and a lot of technical words. But yeah, DevOps engineers basically help feature teams to make their process easier to ship products to the customer faster. I think I was when I was in India, I was I think today when I'm doing this interview with you, I feel much more confident, and that came because I was exposed to a lot of things. Initially, when you're independent, that basically shows in your personality. So that changed when I came to the United States. Second, you do a lot of networking here, right? So that gives you a different perspective. When you start networking, you talk to a lot of people, you meet a lot of people. That changes the way you interact with them, and that teaches you a lot of things. So I think networking has is one thing that has helped here in the United States, and is so much more easier. So yeah, I feel much more confident than I was in India. As I said, and it's very important that somebody makes the entire process very easy for you. You know, you have everything ready. You just need to understand the process and, you know, fill out things. So I think that was very, when me and my parents started with this application process, we were tensed because we didn't know how to go about it, frankly. It's a big process and you need patience with it. And there was nobody to explain that to us. And I think Grad-Dreams did a fantastic job explaining the process end to end, how I would start and how I would end with. So that entire process was made very easy for us to look at. So we already had started dreaming, oh wow, we're in the United States, because you know, the entire process was made easy to imagine, and that's very important. So I think that was done fantastically well, and they guided us through the entire process. Even today, I'm in contact with Dakshita ma'am, and um, lose contact. So if you ever have any questions with Grad-Dreams, even after you graduate, they're always there to help you out. You can always reach out to them. And I think that's a fantastic thing. And I think they remember me even after what, 3 to 4 years. I graduated probably one and a half year back, but you guys still remember me. Grad-Dreams still remembers me. So, and we are doing this interview. So I think that's commendable. They have a lot of students coming to them, but they do remember their old students. So I really appreciate that.